Welcome to Talent Talks. Today, we're focusing on a crucial yet often overlooked aspect of digital marketing: how creative work is not just an artistic endeavor, but an operational challenge that directly affects your brand's profitability. For many DTC brand owners, the assumption is that creativity is all about visuals and designs. But in reality, it's about aligning your creative efforts with operational efficiency to drive real results. When the creative side isn't managed effectively, it can quickly turn into an operational bottleneck, draining resources and hurting your bottom line. Many of you have a deep marketing experience in the traditional setup prior working with DTC brands. And so I'm sure that the DTC brands are getting a lot out of that experience. And one thing that I would like to ask connected to that is, you're handling creatives in BTS, not yet with other like media buying and other marketing. But given that you have your experience, long years of experience in marketing before, do you try to work with, like, as a thought partner of your clients, if you see that there can be improvement in their marketing on top of just creatives? Because I know that they might have a media buyer separately, they might have influencer group separately, but as an experienced marketing, do you still work with them in that high level or just pure creatives discussion?
That's a really good question. I want to say in the very beginning, in the intake, you really need to have your marketers hat. It's just like, what's their brand, what's their market share, who they are wanting to speak with and talk to, who their audience or the 4Ps and the likes. So definitely it's super helpful. And I think more than the thought partnership definitely is there. And I think that's what Coco is really good at with her account management, because it's just like, I'm not just here to control the traffic of what needs to be done. The account managers really partner with the client to deliver ads that are scalable, or just like ask questions that haven't been asked. So at least to answer your question, for me, definitely in the intake, and then with AI as well, your prompts in your AI are very marketing driven, so that it churn, as what Coco also said, is just like creatively, because it's just like, again, whatever you feed is what output you're gonna receive.
Yeah, definitely. Me, from where I'm at, it's every day. It's really working and collaborating with our clients every day. Every time a concept comes out, we make sure that I also want to make sure that it is worth the creative's time. Because we also want to, again, we want them to grow, we want them to be happy, and we want them to see the value of their work. So we also don't want to give them work that we feel might not be aligned to their brand standards, might not be aligned to who they are. Of course, it's a collaborative process. I mean, we're also not always correct, but at least it's a conversation that happens with a client daily.
Yeah.
With the creative strategy and brand growth, I remember, Aycee, you have a client that is almost a year now, if I'm correct. What are some creative strategies or approaches you've used that consistently help your clients in the DTC brand scale their business?
I think I really would love to thank Andrew Faris for this. Hi, Andrew, for listening. Thank you. It's just like the creative variations. It's just like one thing that we are learning, that if you wanted to create ads, instead of just focusing on just one thing, create variations for it, because you'll never know what will fly with the audience. It's like, it's a gamble. I think more than anything, that what we are really lobbying with our clients right now, it's no longer just one concept, one ad, and that's it. It's like one concept, 8 variations to 10 variations, and then that's what you test for the ads. So Andrew, thank you. Thank you for that guidance. And then more than anything, I think more than anything, that is what we are giving to our clients.
In line with what Aycee said, as well, for us to produce many studies or a lot of studies. For example, for Andrew, he's very generous with sharing customer insights so that we know who we are designing for, who we are talking to. But it takes time. Like, it wasn't just like an overnight thing. So like it will take months for you to understand better the client, for us to create more designs or ads for them. So there.
That's very connected with making sure you're, as I hear you, Paula, making sure that you're aligned with the brand's vision when you do the creatives. But is there maybe for you, Coco, is there like a step that you add in that to make sure that not just brands aligning with brands' vision, but also moving the needle in terms of revenue and growth? Do you have that discussion with your client?
Yes, we do. We actually do discussions both ways. So we have discussions with the client, and then we also have discussions with the team. And then sometimes we also do it as a whole team. We do monthly meetings just to really brainstorm, do our checks, and also do our own research and then present it during the meetings. Because sometimes there really are gaps that, for example, the one who the copywriter, from the copywriter to the ad placer to the artist to the creatives to the project manager, there are gaps because you can't do the whole line. So it's good to always talk to the team to make sure, and I feel that's a crucial step for us because the gaps are filled because of these meetings. Okay, for this one, oh, I didn't know that. Okay, maybe I can apply it to my work. Or for example, there's another insight from creatives that probably the copywriter doesn't. So it's good to always have that. Even if it's an extra step, even if it's extra time for us, it actually makes the work smoother and faster down the road. So, yeah.
Right. It's like a project retrospective
Yes.
once a month. So we would know which ones worked, which ones didn't, and then which ones we should continue.
And my next question is can be for the three of you. Your opinion, how does strong creative work enhance a DTC brand's identity, and why is this crucial for profitability in today's digital marketing landscape? You've mentioned fast-paced earlier. A lot has been changing. How do you see that helps?
I guess for that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but studies show that you have 3 seconds to get somebody's attention. So a strong creative ad or a strong creative presence on digital presence like really enable you to be there and to be top of mind. So it's like, it's very important now that the market is so noisy that your art and the creative is really on point and showcases what you wanted to share to the world. And so what's your product, who your audience is, and what do you want it to do with that? So it's like, it really goes to profitability because at the end of the day, you wanted them to convert. So are you saying the right hook? Are you making them feel that, okay, this product really answers a particular problem within something like that? So yeah.
Yeah, the same for I'm sorry. I guess I'll just quickly add to that. Your creative is your brand's reflection out there. So you don't have anything else to actually represent you and your brand. But that either strong creative or a short form or a long form. And as Aycee said, it's the first 3 seconds. So I guess it's very essential. It's very important, especially in this very crowded and noisy e-commerce space, you really have to show yourself, your who you are in those few seconds, and the creative actually reflects that. So it's very essential.
Yes, so you're not just being a graphic designer, you should also be evolving to, improve your visual storytelling so that to better communicate the brand values of the client.
Mm-hmm. AC, I think now I'm thinking about agency versus independent contractor or freelancers. I think the advantage of the agency is the huge experience handling different DTC brands at the same time, as compared to a full-time independent contractor that has experience with 1 to 2 brands before, and then the team in the agency has like worked with more than 10 clients before. If you combine, Paula shared a very important key lesson there, that if you combine the experience that you do not just with graphic designing, but because you learn something from the brand, and then you use that with the other DTC clients as well, then they are benefiting from those experience that you have with multiple brands.
Yes.
Right.
And to add to that is that when you're working with an agency, you're hiring a team. So a team is always stronger than one person. So it's just like when you hire the agency, you can be assured that internally within the agency, yes, with the confidentiality for each client, but there's also the best practices that are being shared. The best practices, you have additional eyes, you have additional resources to know what's new in the market, and that's just sharing the knowledge and that collective learning compared to one person.
Yeah, I think there should be a different podcast episode, AC, as a debate for hiring agency versus
Hiring in-house
contractor. Yes. Hello, JC. JC should be part of this call. Okay, that's very helpful to understand. And this one is going to be a little bit not controversial, but I'm curious to know your answer, because our listeners are the DTC owners, and we want to share. I want you to share your biggest challenges that you face when working with DTC brands, and that's for them to be educated as well, to be aware of the pain points of the creative team, project management, anything that you can share as a challenge.
The big challenge is that when you create something and then their minds are just like, how much will this cost, or how much is the ROI for this design? It's just like, girl, that takes time. So, it's just like, I think that's the biggest challenge of just like not having the right expectations. I mean, we're going to create a design, but we'll never really know what will work out there. So I guess that's the biggest challenge of not really knowing, but just really doing your best. And that's why what Paula mentioned earlier, customer insights, research is super important. But there are instances wherein you've mentioned to Lara, it's like, this is what the competitor did. Can you just do XYZ as well? It's just like, it's not that easy. And I guess you really just that expectation, will this convert to sales right away?
Yes.
But it's challenges.
Well, that's why we have those AI tools, so the client can have more like A/B testing. Because we can't, the designers cannot really promise that what they did will actually drive sales right away, right?
Yeah. And then I guess aside from that, it's also, at least from where I'm at, it's also making everyone happy, making clients happy, but making the creatives team happy also. Because when the whole team is good and well, then you're able to create really high quality, dynamic creatives that work. So it's making sure also that the whole team is good and well.
Yes, clients they're really different from each other. So, I think with asking the right, but we help them by asking the right questions
Yes.
so that we will be able to help them. And same with designers. What can we do to help each other with their work?
Yeah.
Aycee, you've mentioned a lot about creative variations, and I think this is connected to my next question. And if you can elaborate more of that, how do you help brands strike the balance between innovative, creative work and staying within budget constraints without sacrificing quality or results?
If I'm hearing your question correctly, is this about volume versus value?
Yes.
I guess right now, because behind the scenes is just starting, we over-deliver. So it's just like we over-deliver, and then if we think this could help the client, we give it. And we see it also in a way that, because if they grow, we grow also. So even though budget constraints may happen, there are certain instances that if we do believe with a product, we do pro bono work. And then we do added support for the client. Did I answer your question?
Yeah. And then with the budget constraint that we've discussed earlier and the expectations on the volume of designs, how AI tools are helping you with the designing, do you have other like strategies or support that you do aside from that?
One thing that I'm super happy is that we do coaching. The coaching really helps. We have this strong, the ladies, next would be together with the men as well, but we started with the ladies to do Thinking into Results by Bob Proctor. I think that holistic support of not only creatively but personally as well, how they are personally can support professionally. So I think indirectly supporting them with personal goals support their creativity. And I guess that would answer for Paula and Coco. I don't know, I spoke for myself if that is effective, but maybe you guys can share if that is something helpful to you guys as well.
Of course. I was gonna say it's really capacity building for the entire team. It's teaching them to work smart. It's researching and equipping them with the right tools. The past year we've seen like an explosion of tools that have been really helpful in getting us produce like 1,000 variations per month and even more actually. So it's really equipping and making sure that your team is growing with you, with your client, and with BTS Studios also. And we're really, really thankful for example, the coaching that Aycee does, and even the coaching and the help and the support from the other team members also. So that has been really super.
Right. And because of that, we know each other's ways of working, which is really important to foster, collaboration. We know each other's work love language. So, yeah. So I think that one is really important, something that they don't teach elsewhere.
I love that. Capacity building, and then personal support. And the work love language, as Paula said.
Yes. That's super deep. Can you share a campaign? It's not that I'm not expecting it from creatives team, but I know that Aycee is a great experience coach. That's why any brand that she's working with is gaining from that very, very experienced coaching. All right. How do you ensure success in different campaigns that you do with your DTC clients?
there's a lot of work that actually goes into a success of a campaign. And again, it's really teamwork for all of the players involved. We've had one experience actually quite recently that the client wanted to change his entire, how do you say it, brand look. From what we've been previously doing, we've been doing his creatives for a year, and then suddenly he had an idea that, I want to switch it up. I want to do this. I want to do this. And you were like, you were just stunned. But then, of course, you do what the client wants. And we feel that it was a good change. Also for him, it was about time that, he changes his entire look. But it was also a lot of hard work. It took us a month to research, to look for tools that will work out there, to inspire ourselves to do the creative. And it took numerous trial and error situations for the creatives that we submitted to him. But then, eventually with the client giving constructive criticism, with the team also trying to work together to make sure that we birth the best creative that we can have out there. It all worked out in the end, but it was very challenging. We had to research. There was a lot of data involved. We had to try new things. We had to try so many other new tools and subscribe to many subscriptions out there and to test it out. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. So it's the investment that you make for the client. But at the end, after a month or a month and a half, the client finally said, "We've nailed it. We have a new brand look that he loved and really would love to represent also." So yeah, I guess there.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. How do you see the role of creative talents evolving, especially in an agency like BTS?
I guess one is like what I mentioned before, the visual storytelling. So as a graphic designer, I see the role evolving to emphasize visual storytelling that effectively communicates the brand values and resonates with the audience as well. And then what else? Well, it's also a balance with data-driven design, leveraging data insights to inform design choices. It will be crucial for creating targeted visuals that drive engagement and conversion. So it's balancing personalization and data-driven design. And with these AI tools, it will be here to stay and it will keep on evolving. The designers, they don't need to adapt from each tool from time to time. As long as this certain tool works for them when creating their ads for clients, then they can stick to it.
And I think it's a yes. And the growth of creatives, I see that with AI being in place too, you don't have to start from scratch. It's like there is also that level of push to jumpstart your ideas that it really if before you start from scratch, and Paula, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not an artist, but the way that I am just observing, if before you start from scratch and it takes 3 to 4 hours, now with AI, it lessens the time to create the material. But just like thinking through things, it's like it's shortened, but it gives you more time to be creative and really think through it, and provides you the space to really be innovative because you're no longer doing the dirty work as much as before.
Yes. So there's more design thinking involved.
Yes.
With these AI tools.
Right. And
So AI isn't sorry, AI isn't really our enemy. So
yes,
I think that's a misconception.
yes, the same goes with assets for the creatives, right? Our clients now actually are giving in more content and more raw ad assets that AI help produce for them. So it's also very good for the creatives because now they have a wealth of creative assets that they can play around with. So they can actually really produce more variations, and it gives them more time to actually be creative and think of other ways to present a certain concept.
That's very good to hear that our artists are confident in working with AI. Um, Also, last before we wrap up, I always ends with any advice that you would like to share to DTC owners, to your clients, recommendations, maybe for AC.
Recommendation is to book a discovery call with bts.studio. Behind the scenes.studio or bts.studio. Of course, it's like we'd love to work with you. It's just like for any DTC operators, it would be very beneficial if the agency or the freelancer whom you're working with really understand your brand. So I do encourage them to take the time to embrace the learning curve, to embrace that lead time for relationship building, and it's not an overnight work.
Thank you. Thank you, AC. And as we wrap up this episode of Talent Talks, we hope you've gained valuable insights into how creative work isn't just about aesthetics. It's a key part of your operational strategy that can significantly impact your profitability. From aligning your creative efforts with your business goals to streamlining processes that maximize efficiency, today's conversation with these three very experienced team has shown that the right approach to creative can be a powerful driver for growth. A huge thank you to Coco, Paula, and AC for sharing their expertise on how DTC brands or any client can turn creative challenges into opportunities for profit. Their unique perspectives have highlighted how a well-executed creative strategy, when treated as an operational priority, can lead to measurable success. If you're a DTC brand owner looking to optimize your creative processes and drive profitability, make sure to take these strategies to heart. And remember, when managed properly, creative isn't just another task on your to-do list. It's a powerful tool for scaling your business. So thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Talent Talks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paula.
Thanks. Thank you.